Our first speaker today is a person who lives with the noise of the F-16s currently in South Burlington. Carmen Sargent
I am part of the 99%. The little people living in modest houses, which some people see as dispensable. I live in an area which is causing developers to see dollar signs before their eyes. My house and those of my neighbors are disposable goods, but this is my home and has been for 41 years. And I'm one of many who love their homes and a neighborhood where we know one another and we help each other out. But I live in a city where my voice isn't heard, and decisions are made for the benefit of a few, for the wealthy. But because of this movement, people are speaking up, realizing what's at risk: our homes, our neighborhoods, our ways of life. We are experiencing the 21st century version of urban renewal, where an instrument of war is the means to an end and is more important than people. While developers reap the benefits, the people see an end to a neighborhood, to a way of life. We must continue to rally, to speak out, to protest until our congressional delegation listens to us for a change, for we matter. We are the people. Thank you.
In what I would consider an act of courage and bravery, the Winooski City Council voted 5-0 against the basing in the first round of F-35s in Vermont. The bravery exhibited by that political body unfolded before the citizens right there in the room. They did not go behind closed doors. They did not go behind smoke and mirrors. They spoke in front of the people. And they stood strong, representing the most vulnerable in our communities who are being so gravely affected by the presence of F-16s and F-35 fighter jets. Seth Leonard, who cannot be here today, unfortunately, spoke out very, very strongly and included very strong language in the Winooski statement against the F-35 basing. And I'd like to read you a statement that he'd asked us to read today. Hello, everyone. I regret not being able to be with you today. By now, I hope most of you are aware of what happened on Wednesday night in Winooski. But in response of the number of comments saying, quote, "thank you," being heaped on the shoulders of Winooski's elected representatives, I want to stress how and why our resolution happened. It is you that should be thanked. Since the announcement of the potential basing of F-35A fighter jets in our community, I have heard repeatedly the statement that, quote, "it does not matter what we or you do, because we can't do anything about what the military or government decides." That is how those willing to be victims think and speak. We are fortunate enough to live in a community where a large number of people did not accept the idea that their action and our collective action as a community could not make a difference. The courage and willingness to stand up for what you know to be right, even against seemingly insurmountable odds. It is what makes us human. It is what makes and changes history. And it is what stops bad ideas from coming to fruition. We can and should all support the Air National Guard and our Air Force. But we can also stand up and question whether a decision they make is asking us to shoulder too much of the burden. Are you now willing to stand up, Vermont? For too long now, too few have carried this burden. The handful of individuals behind Save Our Skies and Stop the F-35 Coalition have poured through data, stood on streets, written their representatives, asked the tough questions, worked tirelessly to inform the community, and all the time kept scientific and other factual evidence at the center of the public discussion. These dedicated citizens and all of you residents who have opened your minds to reasonable consideration of the facts, these are your heroes, and these are the people to thank. Now they need your help, and it is your turn to stand up. Please listen today and learn about actions you can take to demonstrate your desire for the Burlington Airport to be removed from consideration from the current round of F-35 warplane basings. Never accept being a victim to any intrusion on the health, quality of life, and economic rights of your community. There is nothing the power of an informed community that is willing to work for what is right can achieve. Thank you very much, Seth.
The daily grind of organizing these events and going to those meetings. I just want to tell you my appreciation for that. I also want to say that Representative George Cross, who I think is going to be joining us, certainly deserves a huge round of applause because he's been the most tenacious legislator of all on this issue. Representative Patsy French is also here. She's come up from Randolph area, and I just want to say thank you to her for being here as well. The brief thing that I'm going to talk about is what politicians fear, and we fear issues around jobs and losses of jobs, and I just want to cut through the rhetoric. The reality is the F-35, whether it's based here or not, is not going to change the job situation. The F-16s are here for another 10 to 15 and maybe even 20 years. So when they float out that red herring that if the F-35 doesn't come, there's going to be 1,000 jobs gone, that's just not true. That's right. Period. We have to get rid of the false rhetoric. Now, why would we want them here? It's ridiculous. I farmed in the Intervale for many years, and the F-16s were loud enough when they went over. And so in the communities of Winooski and South Burlington, where you're going to have louder jets going over, we obviously have the health impact and the life impact issues, and there's no doubt that those are real. It's all right there in the impact statement. Why, as political leaders, we and my senior members in our Washington delegation, why aren't they looking at those facts saying, maybe now is not the time for the F-35? That's money. We do not have to be the first place to have the F-35. And then there's a discussion that some of the people that support F-35 say, this is about our safety and our freedom. Look what they did on 9/11. When I look at what our planes did on 9/11, they flew over a site that was already devastated by a terrorist action. I don't believe they stopped a single thing from happening. So let's not equate their existence with freedom when they're after the fact. When we look at how the United States is going to be attacked by terrorists, it's not going to be from an aircraft carrier off the coast of Maine with 30 planes that we're going to have to defend against, right? They're going to continue to do surprise things, and I hope they're unsuccessful, but F-35s are not going to make them unsuccessful. So from a freedom perspective, from a jobs perspective, from a safety perspective, from a quality of life perspective, they're just plain wrong. Thank you.
The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey. Ho, ho! The F-35 has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! The F-35 has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! The F-35 has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! The F-35 has got to go! Hey, hey!
I got that on video.
The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go, hey, hey, ho, ho. The F-35 has got to go,